Ever finish a card and look at it and say, no, that one was good? Today's card is that card for me. Today I'm sharing what is essentially a cardstock only floral design featuring some cool dies from Altenew. And to see how this card came together, stick around. That video is coming up next. So here's a look at the die set that I'm going to create with today. And as you can see over here, I've done a bunch of die cutting to save some time. But this is a beautiful, big die set. Look at how big the actual branch part is. That's my regular sized human hand. So it's big, it's bold. And here, of course, when you get Craft a Flower and Keyhole dies from Altenew, they show you how it goes together. So there's a guide on the back, and what I do when I get new products is I kind of just follow the guide because I don't need to reinvent a wheel at this point. I want success. I want to keep it simple. I didn't have all of the colors, so I just matched them to the best of my ability, and I'm going to follow this along. For the gluing, I'm going to add a voiceover to this and speed it up and talk about building layered die cuts. Commencing the gluing. Now, here's the thing about any set like this. It just takes time to prep all of your die cutting. And once you've got it all cut out, you can even organize your die cuts like I did in this little ceramic tray, which is actually a paint palette. But these little paint palettes are great for keeping your die cuts together. So here on the stem, I think this is so smart how the stem part goes above the leaf layer, so that you don't have to glue on all those leaves separately. So that's smart design number one. And I'll just let that adhere while I build flowers. Now, many of these flowers have actual key-shaped holes, ergo the keyhole system, the build a flower system. And actually, as I was working on this, I accidentally cut two of the exact same petal, and I needed to have a different petal. So in this instance, I didn't line up the keyhole. And here's the thing, these turn out great as long as you have mostly everything done correctly, you'll be fine. Because I thought, do I have to start over with this petal? No, just put on the little center element. And these all have such a beautiful design so that, again, the little spindly things that are coming out at the very end are the little, I don't know what they're called. I'm not a botanist, but it's just smart how it goes together and it makes it look like you have all those little tiny colorful points at the end, but it's really just layering the die cuts together. Now on this flower, it actually was really easy to line up the keyhole shapes, get that flower built. And of course, I went with this very monochromatic theme, just like on the packaging, because I don't like to try to come up with my own color schemes, especially not if there is a layering guide or a color guide included in the die set. And many of the Altenew products, when you get them, they come with ideas for the stamp set, ideas for the die set, ideas for the stencil set. And I, as a maker, appreciate when companies give me a head start on creating with their products. So here we're moving on, more flowers coming together. I'll have all the colors that I'm using for my flowers linked in my supply list as well. I have a mix of Altenew and Concord and Ninth. I just wanted a nice color harmony for my pinks, but I also like the deep wine colors as well, and those wine colors make a nice visual link to the leaves on the stem. I think it's such a beautiful design, and the stem itself is big. So there are a lot of ways you can go with a big branch, right? And now here, actually, when I got to this flower, I thought, I don't know if I just did something wrong, but then I just put the center on and thought, no, this is fine. This looks great. But I wasn't 100% sure how I was going to come up with a design with something so large. But here's the thing, make your branch. If you don't have any ideas right away, just sit and admire it. It's a beautiful piece. I actually think this would be really pretty on like something you would put in your craft room. Like you could put a branch in a frame with an inspirational quote and it would be gorgeous. On this flower, I went ahead and layered it a little too soon because it is supposed to have a stem. So after I finished the core flowers, I went back and I'm going to cut out a few more things just because I missed a couple. So again, building these together. Once you get the groove too, it just is easy to plow ahead. But here's where I realized, oh, you don't have a center for that. So at the same time, I added my stem to this top flower, and you can see it has that little triangle slash keyhole mark. It is supposed to be under that finishing layer, so I just doubled it up. And it's just going to make the flower itself look a little more dimensional, and then pop this right in the center, and we're done. So now I have all my pieces more or less cut out. I had just forgotten a few small pieces. And the thing is too, if you make a mistake, no one's going to notice once you start adding the flowers to the branch. So let's do that next. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the branch and I'm going to, oh no, those are the leaves that are already built in. I can just start taking pieces from here, looking at this and following the build. So I'll speed this up a little as well, just because it's a little repetitive, but I'm following the guide basically to the letter. I mean, you don't have to be perfect with this because it all comes together so beautifully. That's why it's nice to have an actual picture of how the die cut build progresses. Here, I clearly had no concept of having glue on the back. Sometimes when I am working, I will wipe down this little grip mat that I work on, and this is just a piece of Tim Holtz media grip mat. Maybe I mentioned that, maybe I did not, but it's nice for cleaning up glue quickly because this does get very gluey. You know, I get glue on things, I use that little adhesive eraser to get it off, but most of the time the glue does dry clear and you're not really going to notice it. So building it up, and it just gets prettier as you go. And again, I love the fact that this is just cardstock. I didn't do any heroic ink blending. I didn't do anything fancy other than cut the pieces and arrange them per the guide. So that's another thing that I love about this. You don't have to add anything else to add texture and dimension. I think it has a lot of texture just by the die cuts themselves with the little etchings on them. It looks so good once it's all together. That, my friends, is the blossom. And that's something. It is something. I mean, again, it doesn't look exactly like the branch here. I mean, it's pretty close, a little different in spots, but now I need to figure out what is this going to look like in terms of making a card. Let's do that next. So here's the arrangement I am thinking of, and I pre-did a greeting before I even started filming. This is the Timeless Sentiments die set, and I will show you. These are big, big greetings. Like this is not small. I mean, again, there's my hand. They're very large. They can take up a large part of your card. And here, I really only want it to take up the word grateful. I did cut, well, I have a sub-greeting here that I was going to use, but I may not have room for it. I may put it, I mean, I could put it on the inside of the card, but this has a little bit too much dimension. If I were going to hand deliver this, maybe, but I think I just like the grateful on the outside, so I'm going to put this aside. This came from a plate, a press plate that cut a whole bunch at once. First you do the press plate. In fact, I will pop the video up where I used that press plate if you want to see how that worked, but I have all these little leftovers that I've been keeping for other cards. In fact, this by itself could be beautiful on this card too. I mean, you don't need big greetings. I'm going to use one with this today because I'm going to add a little gold shimmer to the background. So let me get set up to do that. I'll just use a small, fine watercolor brush. This is a round number 2. And I shake up the pigments. This is just a note card. And by the way, this is 5.25 by, or wait, 5.5 by 4.25. So it's US A2 sized. And I think that's gonna look really nice. I'm just gonna put some here. That's probably way more than I need. But the size is going to be great for that little guy. So I'm just going to pop some blobbies on here in gold shimmer. We're spattering, we're splattering, we're just adding a little shine to the card. Big blobbies, small blobbies, all good. I am going to let that dry and then I'll adhere my branch and my greeting. So you can see the spatter has dried and it looks really pretty. And now I just need to place my stem. I did put some foam squares on the back here, not over the L, because what I want to do is have this sort of, I'm going to have to cut some of it off too. I think this is the position that I want it to be. So some of this will get trimmed. I don't know if I'm going to be good at that. Let me see. I mean, oh, it makes me nervous, but I'm going to have to do it, or just put it in a bigger envelope. What if I did that placement? Well, let's add some glue. So really, the only part that needs the liquid adhesive is, oh, that kind of got gummed up on me. The only part that needs liquid adhesive is this back layer. Come on now. There we go. And as long as I have enough on each little guy, it'll be enough to hold it. Now, picking it up. And I need to move that out of the way. I do want this to come off here, right about, let's see, before I put it down, I want to make sure that I can get my grateful in there nicely. Gosh, that is pretty. I don't want to lose any up here. I think that's my positioning. Yeah. All right, press and let these parts adhere. All right, I think I am ready to do a little trimming. I'm just going to use some nice big scissors here, get it right up along and cut. That looks pretty good. And up top, I've got a few layers to work through here. I'm just going to I'm going to line up that blade right on the paper and cut. And that actually looks really good. Alrighty. That is my little edge to edge bleed, and bleed just means something is extending beyond the boundary of your space. And here it is, the US A2 5.5 by 4.25. So let's, let me get all I want to make sure this is still set up correctly. You know what? I think I need a thin foam square on that. These are all regular depth, and I do like, let's get some smaller scissors here. I do like to have a little tiny bit of support with a thin foam square. Is that going to fit there? I think it might. Right there. That way, even though it's hitting the cardstock, it's going to have enough support to be placed right there. I love building with cardstock. I think it's fun because when you build with cardstock, you don't even need to ink blend. You don't need to do anything other than cut and glue. Now I added a little gold spatter to my card, right? Because that's just what I felt like doing. And I'm probably going to add a little bling as well. But in general, right? It's just cardstock. It's cutting and gluing, and that is, I think that's less of a skill that's required. You know what I mean? So let's go like this. I will put little tiny bits of glue on each foam square, just so that I have a little float time, because you know, foam squares stick so hard and fast. And here, all I have to do is line up my greeting where I think I want it to be. We're going to come right, no, I think that's good. I think that looks good, but I want to make sure it looks straighter than that. Does that look straight? I'm having some issues. Let's pop you there. Oh, that looks really good. Coming down just a little, and I'm going to put my brick on there. That looks really good. Okay. and press. All right, I have some really nice shiny pearls here. These are from Pink Fresh, and I think what I will do, let's see here. I don't want to have too many, of course. You know, I like the smalls and the mediums. Let's just see where this might look nice on this piece. But a few are going to be nice here. There is more of a medium size here. And that sort of, no, I don't know where I want that to go unless I want to jump over the flowers up here. You can do that. You know, it's like, here's the thing. If I go up here like this, it still is creating this visual link, even though I'm jumping the flowers to continue this gentle curve of 5. So I'm going to do that. I really like that. And let us add these to the card. A little liquid glue. And boop. We're almost done. Boop. Gosh, I love a good cardstock die cut set. Boop. Also, I feel like something like this, a little floral branch, you could use it for so many different types of themes, or maybe you have a floral branch in your collection, and this will inspire you with a different color palette, perhaps. But that is the finished card project for today. Really love how that turned out. Die cutting and cardstock, I'm telling you, it's a good way to go. Let's do a quick design review of the finished card. So, of course, we have a lot of wonderful white space on this card, which happens to be white, but it doesn't always have to be white, of course. We have some nice repetition of the color gold, the metallic. We have the pearls, we have the greeting, and we have the splattery spattery on the background. We also have repetition in the style of flowers where they are built up with these different layers and colors. We repeat some of the style of flower as well, and we repeat all of these leaves. This is a really cohesive design. The balance is asymmetrical, and that is because if you cut this in half, what you have on one side in terms of space and how much room it's taking up is different than what's on the left side. Same thing from top to bottom. You divide it, look up top, look up bottom. This has a different level of filled weight than this does up top. However, because of these other elements, it still feels balanced to the eye. That is what a good asymmetrical design will do. Part of the way you achieve this as well, making sure there are connections between all of the elements, right? This greeting title connects right to the center branch. The pearls connect right on through the whole design, and everything feels very unified and together. In terms of the color palette, really what we have here is very much of an analogous color scheme. We have our pinks and we have our red violets or purples, and you can see those tones, or tints rather, tones, tints, shades. We'll talk more about this in future color videos, but we really do have analogous colors which follow one another on the color wheel. Plus we added in a neutral for the actual color of the branch. I consider browns to be neutrals. All right, so that is the design review for today's card project. You can find links to all of the products I used in today's video in the YouTube description box. I'll also have a link to my blog post, which also features more photos and more details about this card. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I would love to have you, so please hit that subscribe button and be sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the next time I post. To see another card featuring the keyhole system, check out this video I have linked above, and I will see you in that video.